Hello everyone, my name is Braden Chase and nice to see you again this evening. Welcome back to the next video in our course, and I wanted to talk today a little bit about polite conversation. Okay, now what's that? What's polite conversation? Well, first, conversation means talking, right? We're talking right now. What does polite mean? Polite. P-O-L-I-T-E. Polite. Polite means that you say kind things, positive things, happy things, respectful things. Polite, this word, is all about the positive, good things. Okay? Now, sometimes that might be easier to understand if I talk about negative things. Okay? So, for example, I remember a long time ago there was a student in one of my classes who was kind of, he was rude, right? He didn't yell and scream at people, none of that, right? But inside of class, when someone would pronounce something in a little bit different way, he would laugh at them. I can't believe that you're saying it that way. And people could feel in their heart that he was laughing at them. And it hurt their feelings. It was not kind. So that was something that was not polite. Okay, makes sense? That's an example of not being polite, where somebody pronounces something or says something or uses the wrong grammar or gives the wrong answer, right? They answer a question in class and they're just wrong. It happens, right? Everybody's wrong sometimes. But to laugh at them like this student was, not okay. That is not polite. Okay? And this is a deep part of American culture. So we don't do those kinds of things. Now, you will find Americans who are not polite. Okay? There are lots of Americans who are very unpolite. But we don't want to be that way, right? We want to be as kind and as helpful and as respectful as possible. That's why we're here together, right? Is to be the best we can be. So part of being the best we can be is being polite. Always. To everybody. And I know that's hard sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to be polite. Sometimes I'm angry or I'm frustrated. But we still try, right? We still, even though I'm sad, I'm going to give the right words. I'm going to say the nice things because I'm sad. That doesn't mean you need to be sad. Or I'm angry. That doesn't mean you need to be angry too, right? I'm angry enough for two people, right? We don't need to do that. So now we'll do another example, a different example. So I did the negative example first. Now I'm going to do a positive example. So an example of being polite. So I remember years ago, about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago. I had one student, and I was just in one-on-one classes with her. So it wasn't a big classroom, just me and her. And we're talking and we're discussing, and I'm helping her with her pronunciation. And one of the things that she would always do is she would ask me a question. And as soon as I started talking, she would grab her pencil and start writing, even if she already knew the answer. And often she did, because she was very smart. But sometimes she would always be ready. Oh, okay. Write something down. Oh, okay. And start writing. She was listening and she was paying attention. Now, that's being a good student, but it's also respectful. And it's polite because it shows me that she cares about what I say. Okay, so that's kind of a positive version of I'm saying something and she respects that. She thinks it's important, so she takes notes and she writes about it. Another story, a similar story, but a different story, from a man. This is about 30 years ago. It's not my story. It's somebody else's story. And he was saying, you know, I was at home with my family and one of our religious leaders came over to my home and I was like, whoa, this guy, right? He's like so important. He's here in my home. This is awesome. And he sat down there and I started talking, right? We were talking as a family. We're all there. And he started, and then like I was explaining something to my children and I watched him, this very intelligent, very high-ranking spiritual official in my church, pull out his notebook and start writing things down while I was talking. He's like, wow, this is really good. And then when I was done talking, he closed the book and said, thank you so much. That was really good. That made me feel really good. I was like, yes, that was very good. Thank you very much. And then about And then about a week and a half later, that same spiritual leader and that same man were in the same room watching a presentation from children. So the children were talking, and they were talking about different things. They're talking about religion, and they're talking about their beliefs and about the different things that they like. And one of the children was up there, and he was talking, and the man's back there. He's like, yeah, this is so cool. I love watching the children, right, and their faith and their kindness. And he looks over to the side, and he sees that same religious leader with his notebook out, writing stuff down, writing stuff down, writing stuff down. Okay? Now, he's the religious leader. He could be like, I'm the leader. I know everything. I don't need to pay attention. But he didn't. What did he do? He paid very close attention. He paid more attention than most of the other people. That is an example of polite conversation, polite behavior in a situation where you care and you put importance on someone else more than on yourself. So we don't laugh at each other, we don't make jokes, okay? And this, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because it's very important inside of interviews, which is what we're going to be talking about in our next lesson. So interviews, as I talked about before, where people are going back and forth, they're having a question and an answer for a job, for a position, for immigration, for government, for something, for school. You have an interview for that. So what we're going to do as a task, and what you guys need to do as a task, is go find someone to interview. And I'll explain more about that in our demo video here in a little bit, what we're trying to do there. But the idea is that during that interview, specifically, that politeness is really, really high. We have to be so extremely polite and smile and focus and eye contact and constant attention and involvement in that conversation. If you just disconnect, right? If you look away for just the wrong time, you're done. Your interview has failed. Okay, so this politeness, we have it all the time, right? We have it in our religious services, we have it at home, we have it with our friends, with our family, at work. Politeness is always good. Polite conversation is always good. But when it's in an interview, it's more important because that interview shows, it's a little tiny piece, but you need to show your best self in like a minute or 2 minutes. Because just 1 second or 2 seconds when you're not right, or you're a little bit too mean, or you're not kind, you're done. You don't get to be a part of the job or the immigration or the trip or the school or whatever, okay? So that polite conversation just all the time is so important, okay? I hope that's helpful for you guys. Like I said, there's another video just next here, so watch that video where I'll explain what your task is for this lesson. Bye.